Right, so in the last, think about week or two, it's the 16th of December now, I noticed that the voting button on Brawl Stars has just disappeared now, and it's been replaced with the share button, which I think is fine. Being able to share straight after a match makes sense because it's much quicker than going into your battle log and sharing it to your clan. I have noticed that because everyone was so used to the voting button that we're seeing a lot more shares, which might actually be by accident. And to be honest, unless I've missed something, I don't really see what the benefit of this was. I can't find anything officially from Supercell on what it means, why did they do it, what analysis did they get from it, are they doing any analysis from it. Didn't really see anything on it. And you'll see on my last video I put out was, is voting impactful in Brawl Stars? I did about 8 months ago actually, and there was quite a few comments I'm going to go through in a moment that come from that video. But for me, I just don't really understand what the point of it was, and it would be nice to know if they're going to do anything with the information that they got from that. I personally tried to be quite constructive, but as I said in my previous video, wasn't really too sure what you would even get from voting because of this, there being so many variables. That would they really be able to get anything concrete? And I did make some suggestions that they should have a bit of a Q&A kind of thing at the end of a match if players wanted to participate in it, and then they would actually be able to get some more raw data from people that are playing the game. And I think that Brawl Stars does a pretty good job of getting a lot of their feedback from content creators and through various different forums, but you've got to remember that there's probably a huge chunk of the player base that just play in the app and don't necessarily look at all the other resources available to them to really give their opinions. So there's probably a large share of the Brawl Stars community that aren't necessarily having their voices heard, and maybe the voting was a way to be able to do that. But with that in mind, let's just go through some of the comments that people made, and I think some people brought up some interesting thoughts on what they think it was. So we had one comment that said, I'm pretty sure that it is for detecting addictive behavior. People that have addictive behavior will put the thumbs down out of frustration and keep playing. And again, I mean, that's a fair point. Not really too sure what the benefit is of knowing that. But if players keep voting down and then don't play, do you really know what it is that they didn't like about it? Like I said, the variables are a bit too big, but definitely can appreciate the comment around addictive behavior maybe being a bit of a contribution there. Brawl Stars asking me if I had fun. Me knowing damn well that there is nothing like fun in this game. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, very, very, very subjective on what people determine being fun. And again, I'm just not sure the voting buttons really give you any insight on that. Always wondered why the button was there. Dropped a sub, thanks mate. Yeah, I think Supercell might use this data to analyze in the background. And again, if that is the case, that's great, but I want to know why. Like, what is it about that data that is useful to you, and what are you doing with it? I usually vote down when I face against brawlers that I want nerfed, which makes sense. I can definitely appreciate that, but again, you wouldn't necessarily know that from looking at analysis. I work in data as a career, and I know that just that button alone wouldn't be enough to be able to easily create a trend. Like, you might be able to create a trend potentially on like the mode and the map, but if you want to take all the brawlers into consideration as well, I mean, you could have all of the combinations and all the percentage off the back of it, but that would be some pretty intense data set and quite a lot to have a look into, especially when you could narrow it down a little bit more. Someone said they love my accent. Thank you. Not relevant to the voting button, but cheers. I press the thumbs down way more. Then I press the thumbs up. And then someone said, oh. So, yeah. Thanks for everyone that engaged in the previous video. Again, this was just a really short video, to be honest. Like, if anybody has any info on it or know why they're doing it or what came out of it, or maybe I just missed something, then let me know. I'm always actively looking at comments, so feel free to drop your opinion and thoughts on it below. But I just thought it was quite interesting. And if you've accidentally been sharing more replays than you wanted to because you keep thinking it's the voting button, then let me know if you've been doing that too. And I'm sure we'll get over it and the voting will be a thing of the past, but still an interesting interesting observation of the change in the game, and just be good to know what they got from it. But let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Oh, and by the way, this video was sponsored by absolutely no one.